But I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep for good!
The DCEU has gone from life support to officially done. The beleaguered film universe had its ups and downs, and fans were left wondering what possible future could be in store after massive cancellations and scandals shocked fans at the end of last year. In late December, Henry Cavill appeared in Black Adam, Flop Adam, and some were hopeful that maybe a soft reboot was possible and the universe could somehow still be saved. Nah, son, that ain't happening. However, after James Gunn and Peter Safran officially took over, it is clear massive reboots, further cancellations, and change are coming to our favorite characters. It is time, Billy Bob. As time passes, fans have moved away from who and what of the story and are now curious as to why and how this happened. Well, I'll give you a couple of letters. BVS. In the mid-2000s, the comic book movie landscape was very different. DC had several movies that earned enormous success: Watchmen, Constantine, and Batman Begins. I'm not so sure about Watchmen, though. I don't think it earned enormous success. I think it was a moderate hit. And Constantine, same thing, moderate hit. But Batman Begins, yeah, that was a hit. And even Oscar win with Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight as the Joker. Classic, iconic, will never be topped. And of course, the Snyder cultists are hoping and clamoring for the restore of the Snyderverse. Nah, bro.
Nigga, it's over.
When Marvel launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe, many, including those pulling the strings at Warner Brothers, believed it would not work. In 2008, Iron Man $585 million gross was released, and it blew fans away. It was great. The rest of the Phase 1 followed with similar success, and by the time the Avengers 2012 premiered, it was clear that Kevin Feige and Marvel had struck oil. That they did, bro. The Avengers... Great film, even to this day. The first Avengers movie grossed $1.5 billion and is still in the top 10 lifetime movie grosses. Content-wise, they had barely scratched the surface, and they seemed to have a loose but steady plan as to where they were going. Their undeniable success caused a directional shift at Warner Brothers, and when the Dark Knight trilogy concluded in 2012, they greenlit their own connected universe, which began with Man of Steel in 2013. Man of Steel, you've heard me say this time and time again. Masterpiece. It was great. It was awesome. Many have argued that Zack Snyder, who directed Man of Steel, was the wrong archetype to begin and initially lead the DC Extended Universe. Man of Steel did well at the box office, $668 million, not bad, but the budget was over $220 million, but was met with mixed reactions from fans and critics, unfortunately, scoring an unimpressive 56% on Rotten Tomatoes and just 75% with fans. Snyder will go on to direct the second film in the DCEU, Batman v Superman. The Flash scenes in the Suicide Squad helped produce both Wonder Woman movies and direct an alternate version of the chaos that became Justice League. And the reason why Justice League was so chaotic and shit was because of the mixed reaction from Man of Steel and BVS. BVS is what killed the DCEU overall. And I don't give a shit what the Snyder called to say. No, it didn't, Truth. BVS didn't do anything. Shut your mouth. Yes, it did. You're wrong.
You keep talking, man. And you shut the fuck up. Huh?
Zack Snyder is an accomplished director, but has often been criticized for following his own path and needing to fully discern the material he adapts. Famous director and comic book lover Kevin Smith once said this, and I can't believe he said this. This is like, wow. And I quote, "There seems to be a fundamental lack of understanding of what those characters are about. It's almost like Zack Snyder didn't read a bunch of comics. He read one comic once, and it was The Dark Knight Returns, and his favorite part was the last part where Batman and Superman fight." Oh my God, Kevin Smith, you're stabbing me in the heart, bro. Ugh. What happened to all those dick jokes? He is most likely referring to the instances of Batman killing in Batman v Superman, a characteristic that the Caped Crusader is known for not doing, and the overall Rush story. I agree with that. The Rush story, absolutely. But Batman has killed in comics before. Snyder is a visionary when it comes to bringing comic panels to life, but it is clear his vision was not beloved by all. That is fact. When Man of Steel came out, Marvel had just wrapped up Phase 1. By the time their second and third movie came out, Marvel was in Phase 3 with 13 movies having been released and was gearing up for the monumental showdown between Iron Man and Captain America Civil War in 2016. The same year Civil War was released, DC released their own clash of heroes with the movie Batman v Superman, the second entry and second directed by Snyder, was more contentious than the first and debuted at 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, 63% from fans. That's not good. And had a record Friday to Friday drop with sales dipping over 70%. 70. That's a 7 and a 0. The movie was based on the death of Superman, and Dark Knight Returns comics was criticized for its poor characterizations of the two main characters and for shoving a library of stories down the viewer's throats. In the universe's second entry, the viewer learns that Robin is already dead and that an aged, angry Batman exists that even kills. If that wasn't enough, the film introduces Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash, Lex Luthor, Alfred, Steppenwolf, Doomsday, and Jimmy Olsen, who is immediately killed. It didn't help that the next film, The Suicide Squad, was plagued with the problems of its own and did worse with fans and critics from Batman v Superman, a Rotten Tomatoes score of 26% and the 58% from fans. Yeah, still think the DCEU was great? Whether or not you enjoy those movies, I enjoyed some of them. It's undeniable that the story was rushed. It would have been the Marvel equivalent, oh my god, I can't fucking say this word. Equivalents, oh my god, I'm fucking retarded, of going from Iron Man to Civil War to Guardians of the Galaxy. Equivalent. There we go. Jesus Christ, truth. Hooked on phonics, anyone? I promise I'll get to it. This is not to say that DC hasn't had its victories in recent times. Joker 2019 and the Batman 2022 were massive hits with fans and critics. Their animated universe, the DCEU, has also been an enormous success with films such as Flashpoint Paradox, Under the Red Hood, and the brief return of the fan-loved series Young Justice. They have also blown fans away with the surprise hit The Peacemaker. Unfortunately, the live-action movie universe rushed everything, and when something went wrong, they pulled a 180 without thinking of the consequences, which has been a staple of Warner Brothers. There is no greater example of this than what happened with the Justice League movie. After tragedy struck Zack's life, he took a step back from directing the movie and Joss Whedon took over. The film was reworked almost entirely, and what was released barely resembled Snyder's vision, obviously. It was changed so much that he claims to this day he hasn't seen it and was warned by his wife, producer of the movie, not to watch it. The film was a flop, obviously, and it effectively split the fan base. It didn't help that Marvel's third movie that would end up making $2 billion was on the horizon and was effectively giving fans everything that they wanted. Yeah, because they had Kevin Feige at the time, where Marvel was just striking gold. All of these events led to the massive restructuring we see today. Wonder Woman 3, Batgirl, The Wonder Twins, and Young Justice all canceled, and a new universe is on the horizon with James Gunn. Hashtag in Gunn we trust. Let's see, perhaps maybe this year or next year, 2025, we can start to see all the just all the effects that took place with the DCEU, which we still see now. All these DCEU movies flopping with maybe Blue Beetle, that may flop. We'll have to wait and see. But Shazam flopped. The Flash flopped. Like, you would think The Flash, which was poised to be one of the biggest movies of all time, had two Batmans, Ben Affleck's Batman and Michael Keaton's Batman, and The Flash and a new Supergirl, and it tanked. It tanked. Birds of Prey, all that shit tanked. Why? Because of the DCEU. It was mishandled from the start with a director who has an acquired taste, with an acquired fan base that just drove that whole universe to the ground, and we see it now. It's over. Truth out.
These young niggas got my dick hard. What the fuck?